Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous is one of my least favorite RPGs I've ever played. In the past couple of years, I've played almost every single CRPG under the sun, and for the most part, I always think the more complex, the better. And in terms of just pure complexity, maybe none do it better than Wrath of the Righteous. Everything from turn orders, damage calculations, and movesets are taken from the tabletop experience, and this means the ability to make quite literally whatever class you want is unparalleled. So much so that I don't know if I've ever played any other games with so many customization and upgrade paths as Wrath of the Righteous. It's without a doubt one of the most enormous and complex RPGs I've played. And honestly, in a lot of ways, that's what makes it great. In fact, even to add on to that a little bit, I actually like a lot of the companions in this title quite a bit. They're quirky and weird, but in a good way, and a lot of them add much needed flavor at times. But you see, despite all this game has going for it, and the meaningful complexity that it brings to the table, I just haven't found a way to enjoy it yet. I've tried over and over on multiple playthroughs to like the game, but every single time I start, I am immediately reminded of how lifeless and generic this world feels, how tedious that deep combat system becomes, and how much I don't care about anything going on in this universe. The lore and world on offer here is just so lacking and uninteresting, which is especially important considering how long and drawn out this game truly is. There is constant trash mob after trash mob, and in order to actually survive on higher difficulties, you will need to be pre-buffing your party with dozens of spells, all while keeping track of enemy weaknesses and resistances. And really, it all just becomes overbearing to a point where I always end up wanting to love the game, but hating it instead. So much so that it gets to a point where it feels more like a job than an actual game you can enjoy, trying to pre-buff your party and figuring out every spell and its effects before combat even begins and you get to go have fun. The cardinal sin of Wrath of the Righteous, and really Pathfinder in general for me, is that just like Dungeons and Dragons, the world is utterly uninspired and generic, with no interesting philosophical questions or deep lore that's ever brought to the forefront, and I simply cannot get invested enough in this world or story to care about the gameplay that takes so much learning to get into. So while Wrath of the Righteous is one of the most beloved CRPGs of all time, many people's favorite, and even one that I could potentially learn to love if I gave it the time, it still sits squarely at the bottom of my RPG list for me because of a setting I dislike spending any amount of time in, and writing and lore that puts me to sleep the second I start reading.